Very latest on Brexit for you. The Prime Minister's been holding meetings this evening with leading members of opposition parties and groups. And we can go now to Jon Craig. That's before her statement at 8:15 this evening. That'll be live on Sky News for you. Let's go to Jon Craig, though. He's in Parliament's central lobby with some members of the independent group, I believe, Jon.
I'm joined by Chuka Umunna, yes, and a few moments ago Vince Cable gave us an exclusive here on Sky News that Jeremy Corbyn walked out of the meeting. In fact, I'm told what happened was that the MPs were all queuing up to go into the Prime Minister's office, and when Mr Corbyn discovered that Chuka Umunna and Soubry were there, he turned on his heels and left and refused to take part in the meeting. So I'm joined by Chuka Umunna, who until fairly recently was a Labour MP. What do you think about what Mr Corbyn's done this evening?
Well, I think we're in a crisis situation here where the people of this country expect representatives from different political groupings in Parliament to come together and actually try and chart a way forward. That's why the Prime Minister convened the meeting. I welcomed the fact that she did so. I think it's a really extraordinary behaviour for the Leader of the Opposition to behave in really this kind of very juvenile way when the moment demands that we all step up and engage in some serious dialogue to find a way through this chaos and this mess. But, you know, he'll have to explain his actions.
I seem to recall at Prime Minister's questions today, he actually asked for a meeting with the PM, didn't he? Were you not in Prime Minister's questions?
Funnily enough, I'm not always monitoring Prime Minister's questions. I think it's a bit of a circus that should be abolished, to be frank.
Abolish Prime Minister's questions? Anyway, that's a different issue. Let's talk about this. What would persuade you and your group of MPs to back the Prime Minister's deal? Because obviously that's what she was urging you to do.
Well, look, we've all got to compromise here. And in two respects, importantly, the independent group is prepared to do that. One is we've said that we won't stand in the way of the Prime Minister's deal if she agrees to put it to a public vote with Remain on the ballot, so people have the choice between her deal and for us to stay in the European Union. And we've also said that ultimately we've got to make a decision in this House of Commons. And if you hold a series of indicative votes on all the various different options, you can at least see where a majority opinion lies. But in many respects, the big thing that looms on the horizon is the prospect of us leaving the European Union without a deal, which will be absolutely catastrophic for this country and your viewers' jobs and livelihoods. And that must be avoided at all costs. And we're clear the Prime Minister has a sacred duty as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom not to allow that to happen. And if that means you revoke Article 50, you revoke it.
I'm going to ask you to stop talking because I want to bring Soubry in. Soubry, you've met the PM probably for the first time in a little while. Did you get anywhere?
No, I mean, as Chuka's saying, I mean, yes, we learned a lot in the sense that, and this is really disturbing stuff, she does not have a plan B. And what I get from it all is that, as the thing that Chuka's just been saying, is that she is absolutely prepared for us to leave the European Union without a deal. But, you know, this is not messing around. This was the extraordinary. And the other thing is that clearly nothing's changed. And, you know, I thought she might be saying, look, is there something here? Is there a way around this? Is there a way that we can... And so, you know, there was a reach out, not just from us, but obviously from the SNP, from the Greens, from obviously the Lib Dems that were saying, look, we don't want this catastrophe for our country. But she's offering nothing because nothing's changed. She has her deal, that's it. And if Parliament doesn't vote for her deal, graciously, apparently we'll be allowed to have some indicative votes. And I specifically asked her, well, why don't you lead on that? Why don't you make that? The government will lay down amendments and motions and take the House through it in a responsible way? Absolutely not. She'll make the time available, as if we should be grateful for that. And we're due to leave the European Union a week on Friday without a deal. It is the biggest dereliction of duty of any government, I believe, in the history of our country.
I won't ask you about Mr Corbyn. I've asked Chuka about that. But no, hold on. I want to ask you, what do you think about Dominic Grieve saying in the Commons today, I have never felt so ashamed to be a member of the Conservative Party?
I was there for his speech, and it was absolutely breathtaking. And I don't think the Prime Minister realises the very serious difficulties she is now in within her own party. When somebody of Dominic Grieve's service and stature said what he said today, in my opinion, he was on the verge of saying that he no longer has any confidence in this Prime Minister. This is a very serious moment. Justin Greening's speech, I thought, was significant. Sam Gyimah's intervention. My view is there are a growing number of conservative, sensible moderates who are now in absolute despair at the state of the Conservative Party. And yet again, who's going in after us? It wasn't the likes of Dominic Grieve and Justin Greening. It was a large group of hard Brexiteers from the ERG. They were the ones invited in to see the Prime Minister. That says everything about where her priority lies. Not with the country, but with saving her party. And not reaching out to the likes of Justin Greening and Dominic Grieve, but to people who, in my view, aren't even proper Conservatives and certainly don't have the interests of our country at the front of their minds.
Thank you both very much. Good to talk to you both, and thank you for coming straight away after the meeting. Good to talk to you both. Dermot, back to you.
John, many thanks. And you're watching Sky News Tonight. Coming up for you,